It is powerful. It is great. This summit reflects a renewed vision for the continent of Africa.
I warmly welcome you to the Diaspora Summit 2025 under the theme Resetting Ghana, the Diaspora as the 17th region.
All right. Welcome to Pan-African Perspectives, your weekly live stream where we talk about all things pertaining to the advancement of all African people all around the world. Sometimes we do live streams with folks who have made the move to the continent. We talk to folks who built businesses on the continent, and we also talk about my experience living, traveling, investing on the continent. Today we have a discussion about the Diaspora Summit that happened. If you guys might remember, last Monday, Ivy and I talked about the Diaspora Summit and what was to come. I attended the Diaspora Summit, and so I'll give you a little bit of a review of what the Diaspora Summit was like. I've also been on the ground here now for almost a week in Ghana. And so I can give you, not even almost a week, like 4 or 5 days, but I can give you a little bit of what Detty December has been like for me here in Ghana and what's coming up the next couple of days, weeks, through the end of the year and into the new year. So the first things first, I'm going to get right into the video of day one of the Diaspora Summit. Now, this was put together by the Office of Diaspora Affairs for the government of Ghana. So I'm going to play the rest of the video, and then I will give you guys my thoughts on that, the Rhythm and Brunch event that I went to where Busta Rhymes came and performed. Some interesting things happened there, and some of the other events that are happening, because there's a lot going on here in Ghana. The Year Return Beyond the Return has been rebranded, but it's still along the same lines. New administration, similar plans and outcomes. So without further ado, let's get into this video, and then I'll give you some thoughts on the other side.
Today's event is more than a gathering. It is more than a homecoming. It is a reunion, a reconnection of destinies. Each and every one of us is the answer to a desperate prayer of an ancestor.
The continent continues to suffer from the lasting impact of colonialism, which exploited our economies.
We are not sitting idly by waiting for anyone to help us. Reparative justice is a must.
Reparations must be transformative, not transactional.
Africa people march across the ocean in a land of no return.
Le mouvement des réparations n'est pas une revendication nostalgique. C'est une exigence de justice, une condition de stabilité et un levier de transformation pour les générations qui viennent.
Africa has suffered slavery, colonialism, genocide, and apartheid. We demand acknowledgement of these crimes against humanity. Reparations must include tangible measures such as debt cancellation, monetary compensation, return of stolen artifacts, institutional reform, and transformative economic redress in the global economic system. The future is African.
Keep me safe.
All right. So that is the video from the Office of Diaspora Affairs here in Accra, Ghana, and their first day of the Diaspora Summit. So quickly, let me just acknowledge a few people. Made for Africa, shout out to you being in the building, always holding us down. Kwame says, good evening, sir, and everyone. He also asks, were you there Friday and Saturday? I was there both Friday and Saturday. Met a few folks. I met a few of you who watched the live stream. And I met others who watch some of the other content. It was a really, really fruitful event, just in terms of the people who attended. And the people who are here in Ghana, it's hard to describe all the different groups of people. You have venture capital investors, those who, operate, I think, more ethically than others. You have some of the biggest attorneys who represent people of color in the United States. You have foreign dignitaries. You have entertainers, old and young. You have folks like us who are just a part of the Pan-African movement in some way, shape, or form, looking to advance all African people all around the world. And a lot of great conversations, lots of interviews to come with people who've moved here to Ghana. Next week, I'm interviewing somebody who just moved on December 15th without ever having visited Ghana ever. I recommend against it. I told her that. I know her from New York. She moved here. I'm interested to hear her story, and we'll continue to tell her story as time goes on, and other people who have made the move. We have, I went to the Kwame Nkrumah Museum and Park. It's a completely different place than it was the last time I went, and so I'll share that with you. But let's get back to the Diaspora Summit, because I do want to speak to that, and then I'll talk about some of the other things that are happening here on the ground and the other things that I've done and am doing. So first things first, right? The main theme of this Diaspora Summit was, from the beginning, it was specifically about reparative justice, really a global call for accountability and reparations, right? There was a lot of discussion about reparations. And then it was the 17th region vision. And what they mean by the 17th region is Ghana has 16 regions recognized by the country of Ghana, and they're saying the diaspora is the 17th region. So beyond remittances to governments is talking about how do we work together, public, private sector, visa incentives, for those who are coming to future events, the ones who are coming to this event. Last week, you might remember we talked about the fact that there was no visa on entry. That was actually changed. And so we do want to update that and correct the record. Visa on arrival is actually available in Ghana right now. There was an updated letter or memorandum that went out about that in particular. And so I do want to just make sure I mention that to you guys, because that was one of the things we spoke about last week. We were not anticipating that it was happening from our earlier discussions. I will say, though, this is where having Ivy Prosper being at the, the working for the government was really useful and helpful, because she was the person who was responsible for making sure this communication went out. And so what we're finding is that, that gap is still yet to be filled. She, some very, very, very big shoes to fill, put it that way. So really quickly though, so just to correct the record on the, the visa on arrival, I just want to share the screen really quickly, just to share that with you, because it did come up in the discussion, not only the visa on arrival, but just the idea in general of ensuring that people get visas for, visa-free entry as well. So one of the things that came up was, for the people who signed up for this event, you were going to be able to get visa-free entry, which you would have still had to get a visa, but you were going to get it for free. But then they also launched the idea of visa on arrival. So you wouldn't have to have done it beforehand. You would have been able to come and do it at the airport and get your visa. If you sign up for this event, you were supposed to be able to get it for free. But the non-pre-approval visa on arrival, meaning you don't have to go through that process of getting your Airbnb host or the hotel you're staying in to make the announcement for what was going on. I have a ton of footage, by the way, from the Diaspora Investment Conference, the Diaspora Summit. I keep calling it Diaspora Investment Conference because there's another one coming up. And so I will be sharing that with you guys in a coming live stream. I just have to get it off my phone and onto my laptop, and I'll share that on the screen. But a significant number of people came out. I can't tell you how many people there were, but the convention center was pretty packed, and lots of interesting people, lots of good conversations. You know, I'm really excited to kind of tell you more about, you know, what is to come. I mean, there were a lot of different things that were discussed, all around the idea of, you know, residency, reparations. There was some conversation about citizenship, really amongst the people in the crowd, and what that's going to look like. You know, I think that what you can expect moving forward is there's going to be a lot of private-public partnership to ensure that diaspora repatriates or patriates to the country of Ghana in a way that's a little bit smoother than what you've had in previous years. That's one of the main things I see as a theme throughout this discussion. And then the idea of reparations is, you know, the crippling debt that Africa is under, with a lot of European countries getting out from under that, and some policies and some ideas around that. There was some discussion around returning the stolen artifacts. You know, I wear that shirt that says "Stolen from Africa." I don't have it on right now, I don't think. No, I don't have it on right now underneath the shirt. But yeah, so the stolen from Africa, the artifacts that were, you know, from the Ashanti Kingdom that are still in the UK today. There is a push to return those items. So just as a part of restorative justice, and really looking back at the history and moving forward, but with also ensuring that, you know, it's done in a way that that compensates the continent for the atrocities that happened in the past at the hands of the European colonizers. So lots of great conversations about all those different things. I want to spend some time with Ivy talking to you guys about that next week, because Ivy was there as well. And she was there for parts of the conference that I wasn't there for. And then I also ended up being there for parts of the conference that she was not able to attend. And so I do want to spend some time with her talking to you all about that. We're going to have that as one of our topics of discussion next Monday. So tune in next Monday to hear us talk about that. Now let's talk about the rest of Detty December and what's been happening. So Kwame Nkrumah Museum and Park, the remodel and the overhaul, it is amazing. I mean, the vehicle that JFK gifted to Kwame Nkrumah is on full display right there as you walk in. There are pictures with Kwame Nkrumah and Patrice Lumumba. You know, there's the discussion, the fact that Martin Luther King was at Kwame Nkrumah's inauguration, becoming the first president of an independent nation in sub-Saharan Africa after freeing itself from colonization. It's a really powerful museum to walk through and to hear the story, hear his background. And for me, it's a second time going there, but with a official tour guide from the actual museum to hear more about his life and his legacy, with more of the knowledge that I already have of who he had been talking to, who he met with, who Patrice Lumumba is. You know, I think it was really, it was like a powerful experience walking through there and really kind of getting a different feel for the man himself, Kwame Nkrumah, and who really had an interesting background, being someone who went to undergrad and graduate school in the West, and then he went to further his studies, and that's, by the way, at the University of Pennsylvania and Lincoln University in the United States. And then he also went to London School of Economics for a year before coming back and getting into politics in Ghana. Ended up being the first prime minister of Ghana, and then also, of course, becoming the president of Ghana and changing the name of the country from the Gold Coast to Ghana because of the former Ghana Empire, which I think covers parts of modern day Mali and Ghana and a few other regions, Guinea and other places. And so it was really, really interesting to kind of hear his story and see the legacy of what he did here in country. And then, of course, the fact that, you know, the CIA helped to sponsor the coup that overthrew him from office. He's the only only president in Africa to be featured on 2 currencies. He's the only president in Africa to be a president of multiple countries in Africa. He was the co-president of Guinea after the coup that unceremoniously removed him from office here in Ghana. Really interesting story, really amazing. I'm looking forward to sharing that with you guys. And as I mentioned, I'm interviewing a ton of different people that are here in Ghana, people who have moved recently, people who are double returnees. I'm meeting with a woman who has just been installed. So she is now a development chief, and she's gonna talk to us about her experience, you know, being a Black American growing up in the States, but her grandparents came in the 60s and or the early 70s. And then she went to high school here for a couple of years, went back to the States and was gone for 40 years and is back here full time now, you know, opening up a bed and breakfast and has a whole nonprofit structure that she's built up. And so we definitely want to talk to her. Like I mentioned, there's another person here who just moved on December 15th after never visiting Ghana, seeing a ton of content, including our content here. She's moving here. We got some follow-ups of folks that you guys have seen on the channel before, people that I've met with before, who I've interviewed before. So stay tuned to see who we're going to hear from and their stories. And also, too, another gentleman who he's with 100 Black Men. He actually is being installed himself. He's going to be a chief. And so we're going to get a chance to hear from him and his story, his family history. He actually has a lineage here. So it's not a development stool or chieftaincy. It's actually based on family lineage. And so he's being installed as a chief in Osu, which is a neighborhood not too far from where I am. And so, yeah, we have some really, really interesting stories and people who we're going to be talking to while I'm here on this trip. And tours of places, the Black Star Royal Resort, which is a 5-star resort being built here in Ghana. It's being built by a Ghanaian who lived in the diaspora for a while, worked a career in the diaspora, and has plans of moving back. But he's been building this incredible resort where people can buy, you know, a unit, or you can rent it, or just go there and stay for the night or a couple of nights. So we're going to get a chance to hear his story, take a walk around. I got my film crew here. And then, of course, there's the content that I shot the last time I was here. You guys know I was here in September, shot 23 videos, the Shark Island video with Marvin Walker. We just posted a video yesterday, the interview with him, how he quit the music industry and moved to Ghana and bought an island. He bought an island here in Ghana, not too far from Aqua Safari. If you guys are familiar with Aqua Safari, he is about a not too distant drive away from there. Really interesting. He's gone viral on social media for the jet cars that he has on site and the building that he's building, and the fact that he bought an island, and he bought multiple islands actually. So you guys are going to get a chance to hear from, you guys got a chance to hear from yesterday. If you haven't already watched that video, go check that out. And then next week, we are going to be going through the tour of the location that he owns there at Shark Island. And then I got plenty of more interviews to come from that last trip. Like I said, 23 different pieces of content was shot there. This trip, I've already shot some content, Kwame Nkrumah Museum, the Busta Rhymes concert. That was interesting. Spliff Star, his hype man, definitely said, shout out to Uganda. And everybody was like, hey, this is Ghana. So he's like, I hope you guys forgive me. I didn't get that on camera because I was, in the middle of a discussion with someone, but I thought that was really interesting. But overall, I thought it was an interesting night. Beanie Man is coming for the Rhythm and brunch, reggae edition. So that should be interesting. So there's been multiple events that are happening here where they're bringing people in from the diaspora to perform. And so I'm really looking forward to sharing all of that with you guys if that is of interest to you. So much of it is going to have to be edited and come out later, but I'm definitely going to do a Detty December vlog, and I'm going to do vlogs at specific events and things that are happening. So the Diaspora Conference, I did a vlog from that, hearing from John Mahama, President John Mahama, His Excellency, I should say. Just hearing his view for reparation and reparative justice, his view for a way forward, his reflecting back on the life and legacy of Kwame Nkrumah and how he wants to continue that legacy. All of those things I thought were really interesting, and I'm planning to share that with you guys as a vlog. There is a Diaspora Investment Conference coming up that I plan to attend. There's also another Diaspora Roundtable tomorrow that I'll be going to, and I'll be vlogging that. My film crew's coming with me to shoot that. And yeah, I have a lawyer who just recently moved here, 2 lawyers who've recently moved here that I'll be interviewing. So we got a lot of content coming for you guys. And I'm looking forward to really sharing with you what this experience has been like. I am a person here who I've already done Detty December as like the, you know, the nightlife, the year of return, that whole thing where I had nothing else. Well, there was a couple things that I did. You know, when I came for the year of return, you guys saw the interview with Ivy Prosper. When I came here, I did have a movie premiere of a short film that I am a co-producer on. And then of course there was, you know, so we did a screening there. And then also I went to a radio station, Joy.fm, for, at the time, a client of mine that I was advising. And so that was cool, you know, getting a chance to do that. But outside of that, it was all fun, you know, all the time when I came to Ghana that first time. So this time it's really more about expanding on what we're doing, right? Building new partnerships with folks who have property so that, you know, if you guys are interested, you guys can see from me what it's like to be there, to hear directly from the people who own these properties. You know, I'm really spending much more of my time focusing on the 3 different pillars that we've talked about, right? Traveling to the continent of Africa, investing in the continent of Africa, and moving to the continent of Africa. And so if those are the 3 pillars that we're focused on, the content will be really focused around that. So you can expect to see more real estate, you can expect to see different types of investments, and you can expect to hear from people who have come to the continent to live. And then of course, there's always gonna be some travel. I got some locations that I'm planning to go to in the near future. Cannot really say where they are and when that's going to be just yet, but just pay attention to the channel because there's going to be more to come on that. Kwame says, while you're busy, always, brother. I'm always busy. And productive, though. There's always a lot going on because I do want to make sure that you guys get a chance to see and hear what it's like to be on the ground. You get a first-person view. I also, I'm not wearing them currently. Do I have them here? I don't think I have them here, but I have my Meta glasses. So these are not the Meta glasses, but I do have Meta glasses. So I've been filming a lot of a first-person view from those glasses, so you guys will get a chance to see what it's like walking through these areas, being in these places, and seeing what it's like to be on the ground here. Yes, like and support the channel. Hit that thumbs up. If you want to support in any other way, you see the scrolling ticker symbol here. Feel free to support if you are so inclined. Adam says, I was physically present on March 6, 1957, when the Ghana flag replaced the British flag. Wow. Adam, that is an incredible story. I would love to talk to you. Are you in Ghana right now? If you are, I would love to interview you. Shoot me a message at the email you see scrolling across the screen. I would love to interview you if you're here in Ghana and to tell that story, even if you're not here in Ghana, to be able to tell that story of what it was like to be here at that time. It must have been an incredible time. And one of the things that I also want to do more of is sharing the independence movements that were happening at the same time in 2 different places. You know, right now, and I've mentioned this before, you kind of have this silos, right, of different African peoples, or of African descent, I should say. So, and people identify how they identify themselves. So, really, I understand that people want to identify themselves how they want to. And so you have different groups. You have ADOS, you have FBA, you have Pan-Africanists. And in my belief system, I think really it should be advancement of all African people everywhere, people of African descent and recent African descent, melanated Africans. And because obviously we're the ones who've been the ones most disproportionately negatively impacted by the colonial takeover of the continent of Africa, and then the subsequent human trafficking to the Americas. And so my goal is to try to share the story, our shared history. One thing that I heard a lot of during the Diaspora Summit and going to Kwame Nkrumah's museum is that, his time here in the United States really impacted and shaped his Pan-African belief systems and views. Being inspired by Marcus Garvey as one of his known and spoken about inspirations, and him being at university in the United States at an Ivy League school in the US, but then also being in the US during segregation, right? When he was in the United States, he was here during what was happening in terms of the civil rights movement, what was happening during the civil rights movement and segregation. And so he got a chance to see that revolution happening. And at that same time, he goes back to Ghana and he starts the revolution to get Ghana's independence, or he doesn't start it, but he takes part in it. And Martin Luther King was at his inauguration. I want you guys to understand how important that is, to see these two things happening kind of in parallel, right? The United States gaining its independence, Black people in the United States gaining some forms of civil rights, while Africans in different countries, one by one, were gaining their independence, and the two happening around the same time, and how there's the inspiration, one inspiring the other, and how we have that shared history, and how we need to come back together so that we can advance together as a people with a common cause. And so that is going to be the theme of everything you see from me continuously moving forward. It's kind of always been the underlying theme, and you've seen a little bit of that over time, but you will be seeing a lot more of that going into 2026. I promise you that my goal is to help people make decisions about their future based on their knowledge of what's happening on the ground today, and the knowledge of what we've seen and what's been done to pave the way for us in the past. All of it connects, and all of it will be shared as we move forward. As you can see, I'm very passionate about this because, it's all very fresh. I'm on the ground here in the middle of it all. And, when I first got to Ghana and I first did all the things I did, I went to Cape Coast, I went to the Kwame Nkrumah Museum, I went to the Shy Hills Wildlife Reserve, and I got all of it, but I didn't really understand all of it the way I do now. With further educating myself, getting more deeply entrenched in the Pan-African movement, having done, those live streams with African Stream for over a year, and really learning so much more than I had known the entire almost 40 years before that point. It really did change things for me, and it changed the way I see the world and what I want to do and where I feel I fit in and my life's purpose. And I do believe my life's purpose is to help all of those from all over the world, all of our people, advance in some way, shape, or form, and help our continent advance as well, and to further gain its independence, because it's really, many places it's not independent the way we'd like it to be. So Adam says, I'm in Liberia. I'll be home for good after 55 years. Wow. Also mentions that Louis Armstrong performed in 1955. I guess in Ghana is what you're saying. So yes, that is what you can expect from me the rest of this trip. This is a really, really good trip because I'm spending more time this December in Ghana. Usually I come to Ghana right before Christmas or right after Christmas. Now I've got a chance to come to the Diaspora Summit. There's different events that I've gotten a chance to go to. There's some other things that are happening behind the scenes that I can't wait to tell you guys about in a couple of months, but I do need to make sure that it does actually happen. So we will talk about that when it happens, or once it's confirmed, and nothing is confirmed as of yet. So I don't want to speak to that as of yet. But I will say this, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share this with anybody you know who's thinking about coming to the continent. The last thing I'll say is make sure you head over to the YouTube channel and check it out. Look, it is no easy process to get these videos up and live every week for you guys to see and to watch, right? I have spent hours and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars getting to a place where this is something that I can be proud of, and I would love for you guys to further support by just watching the videos. Right now, YouTube isn't always giving people notifications that the videos are out. So I just want to quickly share with you what we did recently, so you get an idea and then you can check it out. So we got the Shark Island video here, my interview with Marvin. We got what's coming up next Sunday is going to be the Shark Island tour. You got to check that out. Last weekend we had the tour of Alita Israel's estate, and then the weekend before that we had an interview with Alita where she spoke about her decision to move to Ghana, and and really what why that came to be. You got my interview with Ivy here, Need Some Love. You guys need to check this out. My interview with Margaret Deborah actually did pretty well. Looks like you guys really liked that interview. But come by and check out the interview I did with Ivy. It was a really good conversation. And then stuff from Sierra Leone is further back. But I do want you guys to pay attention to this group of videos here, because this is really what all has been up most recently. And you see there's a video a week. And then lastly, I need to get back to sharing my story, building my house in Sierra Leone. It has been a nightmare over the last year. And that will all be in video. You guys will get a chance to see that. It has not been great. Some of the things that have happened, some of the processes that I've been going through, figuring that out, and some of the other details that I'm dealing with in Sierra Leone, those things will be spoken about as they get completed. But you guys stay tuned, because I do plan to start every week again, sharing stuff that's happening in Ghana, and the interviews and all the things to invest and move and all of that, along with the weekly updates of what's been happening on the house until we get up to present day, what's happening at the house in Sierra Leone. I don't think there's anything else I wanted to cover. Okay, let me just go through some of the list of the other events that are going to be happening and where I plan to be. So there's the Rhythm and Brunch. Again, there's two more. There's a Rhythm and Brunch R&B, which I'll be at. There's a Rhythm and Brunch Reggae or Dance Hall, which I'll also be at that one as well. There's the African Diaspora Investment Summit. I will be there. And then there's also the Diaspora Roundtable happening tomorrow. There's other events that I may or may not be going to, but there's definitely some private networking mixers. The Afrofuture Festival is happening. I'm not sure if that's happening or if I'll be there, but maybe not. The BHIM Festival, not sure if I'll be there. There's a Taste of Culture concert. There's a Kwanzaa Fest at Elmina Castle. So there's a number of different events. I'll keep you guys posted. So stay tuned to the channel. Stay tuned to Instagram. and I'll let you know where I'll be going and what's happening. And so with that, guys, I want to say thank you once again for watching. Those of you who watched all the way through to this point, I appreciate the support. We got to grow this audience so that more people get a chance to hear what is happening on the ground and make better decisions about moving. 2026, we are continuing to move full steam ahead. There are a lot of new initiatives coming, new partnerships that I'm excited to share with you guys, and just more opportunity for you guys to expand on your portfolio. If you are currently a, real estate investor, or for those of you who want to start, there's plenty to talk about and plenty of available land all over the continent. And so we'll just talk about, buying and, being good stewards of that land, right? Being responsible with the land that you acquire, because we want to ensure that the best and brightest are coming to the continent and investing, but also with good intentions. All right, guys, it looks like we are at time. I want to thank you guys all for joining. Those of you who stayed this long, again, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you're notified every time a new video comes out. Make sure you tune in this coming Sunday for the Marvin Walker tour of Shark Island. Also, check out last Sunday, so yesterday's interview with Marvin, why he quit the music industry and moved to Ghana, and he bought 7 islands or 6 islands, but mainly Shark Island, and he's developing on Shark Island. Story is a great story. It's something that unless you've seen his content, you probably have never heard of it before. So it's a really interesting story. And then also tell me what you guys think of the thumbnails. How am I doing on thumbnails these days? It's been a change. I'm designing these myself. I hope you guys find these to be good, because man, it's hard work to get these thumbnails done, to put these things together. I don't know if it's easy to see or how difficult it is. So I don't know if I can zoom in, but you get the idea. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And with that, thanks for watching, guys. I will see you guys all in a few days. If you celebrate the holidays, happy holidays. I'm not sure if we're going to go live during the holiday season. Thursday happens to be the Christmas holiday for those who celebrate Christmas. And also next Thursday happens to be New Year's Day. So it might be tough to do our news live streams on those days. The Monday live streams will still be happening, but the Thursday live streams, we may have to move it to another day, or we may have to resume in the new year. But stay tuned to your devices. And when I mean by devices, well, I guess it's double entendre. I mean the mobile devices, and make sure you pay attention to what's happening. Turn on your alerts so you're notified every time a new video comes out. And with that, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys all on the next live stream. Bye, guys.